We at the Los Angeles Times believe in trying to find readers wherever we can, and if we can't find them, we try to grow our own. It pleases me enormously to not only welcome you all to the 22nd annual presentation of the LA Times Book Prizes. I only wish the late Art Seidenbaum, whose idea this was with us here tonight. I also wish to welcome you to the 7th annual Los Angeles Times Festival of Books in association with UCLA, and also to announce to you that, at least according to that ever-accurate statistical department, the UCLA Campus Police, 75,000 people turned out today, a new record. Exceeding last year's first day total by some 10,000. If this keeps up as we think it should by tomorrow, we will have crested 150,000 in attendance, and that's up 30,000 over last year. I keep thinking that these numbers, the 391 authors, the 95 panels, if one tries to go on like this, one risks sounding like a voiceover for some old Stalinist documentary about the annual production of pig iron. But nonetheless, I keep thinking that these statistics will drive a wooden stake through the heart of the canard that Los Angeles somehow is more wed to Baywatch than it is to books. You have only to walk the information piazza that Los Angeles has become, the UCLA campus in particular has become, to see that there's an enormous galaxy, not a republic of letters, but a galaxy of book lovers, booksellers, and readers. There are supernovas called superstores, and there are an infinite variety of planets orbiting from the most robust of independent stores and the indefatigable readers that are everywhere to be seen crowding this campus. I want to make a couple of observations, one by way of rectification. To my shame and humiliation, I note that the program left out a very important exhibitor who has regularly come to express support to the festival by demonstrating his wares. In booth 709, there is that national living treasure called George Plimpton and his Paris Review, which next year celebrates its 50th anniversary, giving encouragement to writers and readers everywhere. And I just want to acknowledge George's presence at booth 709. So please find your way to that booth. For some years now, the Los Angeles Times has, in its pages and especially in its book review, sought to answer the question, or at least to test the possibility that serious criticism is possible in a mass culture, believing that if it's possible here, it's possible anywhere. Last year I came before you and noted that, as Mr. John Carroll observed in the opening remarks of this evening, that so many newspapers had sadly shrunk their book pages. That still oddly seems to be the case, even though the thing that has shrunk the most is the bubble called e-commerce, and the e-book, which is nowhere present, seems to have gone for the moment into some black hole, while the book seems to thrive. And every week, day in and day out, and on Sunday we are confronted with an embarrassment of riches, and it would appear on evidence of this book prize program and on the book prize awards given all over the country that the novel is very healthy, that ideas matter and have consequences, and that it behooves people both critically and commercially to treat readers as adults rather than serve up the baby talk that so much passes for the daily fare. But enough of this pomposity. Let me bring on someone who I'd like to introduce to you and who will channel all my affection and all our affection for the remarkable tradition and history that is Los Angeles literature. Let me introduce to you Mike Sonksen, otherwise known as Mike the PoeT.
I'm alive in Los Angeles. 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 Now, is it the sunshine or the catastrophes, flash floods or the traffic? Something about Los Angeles makes music, makes magic. The muse of Los Angeles makes artists get active. Behold the lore of LA authors. Behold the lore of LA authors. Who's rocking the populace in the postmodern metropolis? It's LA authors. Starting with Charles Fletcher Loomis, sunshine looms large in literary Los Angeles. From the myth of Ramona, Pueblos, California ranchos, orange groves, and the Arroyo Seco, expatriate artists of the 1890s brought the first sunshine wave of LA authors. Boosters blew the trumpets on the Golden State's landscape. Sun for 300 days, a cure for old age, find the fountain of youth in Los Angeles. Hyped up pamphlets let the world know, land of the sunshine, manifest destiny. But it wasn't heaven for everybody. Besides the boosters, there was debunkers, socialists, expatriate poets, leftist screenwriters, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Louis Ademic, and Jake Zeitlin. Nathaniel West was one of the best, the city in flames in the day of the locust. The underground intelligentsia of artists and authors lived in Echo Park bungalows. McCarthy called it Red Hill. Sinclair yelled, "Oil! Behold the lore of LA authors." Chandler and Kane were kings of writing noir detective novels in the lost streets of Bunker Hill, where Fonte celebrates staircase fire escapes and lost love. And long before Rodney King, there was the Zoot Suit riots. The LAPD and Navy fools fought with the Pachucos in the Sleepy Lagoon. Kerry McWilliams knew the deal. It was fire factories in the fields. Palm trees are swaying in the wind as the sunset begins. It's twilight on Franklin, and what makes Sammy run? Is it the architectural illusion? Hollywood tycoons in the American dream? Robinson, Jeffers, and Langston Hughes? If he hollers, let him go. Get your jazz on Central Avenue. Ray Bradbury wrote Martian Chronicles, and L. Ron Hubbard wrote science fiction into Scientology, and Charles Bukowski, staying in single-room occupancies, wrote sublime poetry about the plight of the modern man with a beer can in his hands. And Venice beats off of Abbot Kinney, and every time I'm in Venice, Jim Morrison speaks to me. Behold the lore of LA authors, behold the lore of LA authors, behold the lore of LA authors, rocking like rockabilly, car clubs, the Carpenters, the Beach Boys, Grease, disco, and roller skating. Singer-songwriters in Laurel Canyon like James Taylor and Joni Mitchell sang the real deal in the Hollywood Hills, basking above Babylon and hedonism before hippie folk maidens became pop rock musicians. And now we're rocking the Rainbow Room like Led Zeppelin, selling platinum, Radio Free Hollywood, Hotel California, the Doobie Brothers. Play that funky music, white boy. Behold the lore of LA authors. Bret Easton Ellis tells us about gilded youth snorting white rails in Beverly Hills, Less Than Zero. Walter Mosley and Easy Rollins, The Devil in the Blue Dress and Little Richard. Barry White grew up near Willowbrook. Motown came out west with the Jacksons. Lewis McAdams, Doug Miles, he wrote The Birth of the Cool. James Elroy kept LA confidential like the Black Dahlia to Gabriel Garcia Marquez, magical realism, Hunter S. Thompson's new journalism. We're south of no north in the city of courts, reeling in the years in the ecology of fear. Mike Davis and magical urbanism hit like Joan Didion's White Album. Thomas Pynchon to Luis Rodriguez, Linnell George to Ruben Martinez, Wanda Coleman to Exene Cervenka. Check out the LA sound selectors, from punk rock pop to underground poets, urban planners, Klein, Soja, Jello Biafra, Rollins, Ellen Mabey, and spoken word artists got trails blazing. Paul Vangelisti to John Thomas, Lawrence Lipton and the Holy Barbarian, Stuart Perkoff and words of raising roofs like Poetics, A Mic and Dim Lights, Beyond Baroque. Ginsberg got naked, folks. Welcome to the West Coast Poetry and Jazz Festival. Behold the lore of LA authors. Behold the lore of LA authors. Who's rocking the populace in the postmodern metropolis? It's all of you, the LA authors. Now the truth is stranger than fiction. It's surreal living in these conditions, from William Gibson's science fiction, cyberpunks on super expressways, ghetto bird cameras every day. Hollywood loves the apocalypse. The coast is toast. Earthquakes, flash floods, El Nino, Armageddon, busted bridges. Waves are crashing on the edge of the continent. The city in flames, or is it another day in paradise? Is it sunshine or noir, Baywatch or Blade Runner? Stay tuned for another long, hot summer. Santa Ana warm winds keep blowing and creative juices keep flowing, and the list of our LA authors keeps growing. LA authors making music loud like Sunset Strip, rock and roll to soul, from Doors, Van Halen, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, Ice Cube, NWA, Dr. Dre, Pharcyde, Snoop Dogg, Freestyle Fellowship, hip-hop, metal, bedroom producers, turntablists, and poets. Behold the lore of LA authors, and I am alive in Los Angeles. Take a good look, because it's the Los Angeles Times Festival of Books, and we celebrate literature because there's a new emerging sort of renaissance of literature. It is alive, and we are alive in Los Angeles. I am alive in Los Angeles. I am alive in Los Angeles, and behold the lore of LA authors, and much love and respect to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, and good evening.